In the last lecture, we have learned about many detailed things about Java programming, the different return type and input, output and everything. So, today we will have some illustration about output and input in Java, and you know input and output are the two important activities in any Java application. So, these two things are very important. So, we will discuss about how the different way the output can be, and also what are the different procedures, so that we can pass inputs to a Java program. Now, so far the output is concerned, in this illustration, in this demonstration, we will discuss about output related to display on the screen, that is called the standard output. That means, how the different way output can be displayed on the screen. There again output can be in a different way, so that output can be passed to a file, output can be passed to a network line, output can be passed to a database which is situated in a remote location. All these things will be discussed later on. So, now let us have the quick idea about how the input and output is possible in Java program. Now, we have discussed about the different methods which are there in the system class, which is defined in java.lang package, namely the print, println and printf. So, in our demonstration we will discuss about usage of these three methods which are defined in system class as a system.out class, actually more precisely. And then after this discussion about the output, we will have a discussion about the ways the input is possible to Java program. There are three ways by which a programmer can pass input to the Java, or called the command line argument, using the scanner class and using the data input stream class. So, let us have the demo about these four things now. So, first demo includes how we can print value on the screen. Now, this is the quick demo. Let us see, this is a very simple program. Now, here we declare simple class, the main class is here, we do not have any other class in this case, because it is a very simple example. So, the main class is defined here, demonstration underscore 41. Now, you can see the first two statement, system.out.println 1 2. Now, you can guess what the print it will give. It will definitely print same 1.println and then 2.println. However, it will give the print in the two different lines. So, println means it will print the string or any value, and then the cursor automatically goes to the next line. So, for the first to print, the cursor automatically goes to the next line. Wherever for the third print, it will basically cursor goes to the next line, and for the fourth print, because the next third print is only print, cursor will not go to the next line. So, it will the cursor will be there in the third line itself, and similarly for this cursor will remain in the same line. Now, let us have the demo, so that we can understand about the working of this print statement. Yeah. Now, you see the first two print is basically in the two lines, and then second two prints are in the same line, and then cursor basically in the current line, actually where the cursor is blinking here. Now, so this is the idea about it. Now, let us see, I am just adding one more statement, you will see how it will work for you. After the third print, write the again system, right, okay, right, and then enter, and then system.out.print and then backslash n, print backslash n, backslash n. Now, backslash, it is like this, not that, yes, okay. Now, here if you see the third print statement, that fourth print statement rather, which basically is the print, and then it is just like in C programming language is a backslash slash n rather, okay. So, slash n is basically new line character, that means whenever it is non printable. So, it basically give the cursor to the next line. Now, you can anticipate what output will be. So, the first two output will be in the two different line, then the third output also in the third line, and then system dot out print cursor will automatically move to the next line, and then the last print statement will be the next line. So, now let us see the output, it is there, we can see it. So, this is the effect of n. So, it is the new line character. So, it is the same as C programming or C++ programming concept actually. So, new line character is also Java accept. So, this way you can see how using print and println we can display the value on the screen. Now, this println can also print more than two statement or two string or value. For example, in the last statement say right print to plus, here no not plus here, right, we can give 3 right, we can write 3 dot print. So, basically we are printing two string, and the two strings are basically mentioned in a separate way by means of plus. This is called the concatenation of string. Okay. Now, you can see it is like this. Now, any value also can be printed. Now, let us declare one value, say int x at the beginning, int x equals to 555. Okay. And the next last statement, let us plus x, this dot x plus this dot x. Okay. Now, let us see run compile this program. Now, you can understand what we want to do it. Simple x you can give, whether it will take or not. Let us see. Okay, just we face one problem, plus x, fine, compile. So, okay, this dot x is not required here, right. So, okay, we can see it like this one, right. We can print any value whatever it is there. Now, in this case this is not resolved because here no resolution or no collision, that is why this is not acceptable. So, we can just simply refer, and here also we do not have to create any object because the main method here is static. For any static method we in fact access any value without any creating object. So, here the x value it is basically accessed here in the main method without creating any object. So, no this dot x is required in this case. So, we can okay, now here the little bit printing can be made more configurable, plus x we can use the space comma. So, plus x before plus plus x plus space plus. Now, okay, little bit more CLS. Okay. Now, we can run the same program again, we have to compile it because we have changed the program. Okay, run. Now we can see. So, using all those things we can customized our format of printing on the screen. So, it is under the control of programmer. So, we have learned about print and println. In addition to this print and println, Java also allow to use the printf function. It is same as system.out.printf, and the printf function is basically same as the standard printf in C programming. As the name printf, it is called the formatted print. That means, we can mention the format in printing. Again, let us have the quick demo of this method, this type of use of the printf, and in this we can see the program here demonstration underscore 42, and we declare the one method, the main method. In this main method we declare a variable x as 100, and now you see you use the printf method, system printing simple integer, and to print the value we use %d. It is just like a C syntax. Within double quote whatever you write it will print as a verbatim, but the format if you specify, then the value for that format needs to be placed by means of comma. There is no plus operator like that is there in print or println. So, here %d, this means that x will be printed in the decimal format, %d stands for decimal format. Now, in the second example, if we see that we print one value called the math.py. Math.py is defined in java.lang package in the math class, and pi is a constant, is basically pi 22 by c, that is 3.1414519. So, this value will be printed. Now, here you can see format that we have mentioned to print the value of pi is %.2f. This indicates that it will print after decimal only 2 digits and then before the whatever the value it is there. So, it is basically precision up to the 2 number the decimal point. Now, again we declare another value float, and this is 5.2f, we can declare is a floating point number. Now, again we can print this floating point number which has the different format %.4f. It basically says, you can understand what is that mean. It means that after decimal it will print up to 4 digit and then percentage whatever the value before decimal. So, in that case if we print n, so definitely it will print 5.2000. So, that after decimal 4 digits. Now, if we assign this value like 0.3f, and again if we print this with different format 0.20.4f, you can understand what will do. It will basically after decimal 4 digits and then before decimal maximum up to 20. Now, let us run this program, then we will come to the discussion again. Okay, so 4.2 is under compilation, compiling, the program is successfully compiled, now executed. Now, you can see what are the different output you can give it. So, hope that the output you can just see the program and little bit okay output that can be right. Okay, you can see the output and then format. Now, let us come back to the program again. So, I am just going to little bit do the changes there. Now, let us come to the second statement, second printf statement, second, first, second, yeah, then second, third, sorry. Now, come to this %4.f, right, we just print here say instead of 0.4 we just 0.1, okay, and say percentage here 2.1, yeah, percentage, okay, fine. Now, next statement here, now next last statement, so it is 0.2 after decimal 0.2, okay, 2, and here before decimal if we see the total number 7, but we want to declare 6. Now, let us see what will happen. Now, okay, now here you can see what we got it there. So, it is a truncated. Now, so truncation is not truncated. So, 0.25 it is basically what is the idea about, it basically approximates, right. So, right. So, it basically do not truncated the decimal value, it basically take the highest value whatever it is there without before decimal it will not be truncated. However, after decimal as we have mentioned 0.2, although there is a 0.3 it has been casted to 0.25. So, there is a little bit manipulation that the Java runtime interpreter will do it and then it will print it. So, now here I am just want to mention one thing, that whenever you use the printf, the formatting matters a lot and you have to be very careful about the formatting. Sometimes it is result may be correct, but because of the wrong format that you have mentioned you may not display the right output. So, that is that needs to be very careful about while you are using printf. If you do not using printf, rather if simply print ln, all those things are not applicable, no formatting is possible, but print ln in that case is very simple, that although it will not do any formatism for you, but it will print the right value for you. So, sometimes it is very safe to use the print or print ln method instead of printf in Java. Okay. Our next demonstration, okay, so we have learned about print, println and printf method to display the output on the standard output, namely display screen. Now, I will discuss about how the input can be passed to user's program. There are 3 ways. One is the command line input. So, command line input concept is that while you run the program, that means you call the program, that means your main program, that time itself what are the input that is required for your program, you can specify. This means that Java will take these inputs automatically and then run it. Java will not take any input later on, then I mean it will not ask any input. So, if you know that these are the inputs that is required for your program, you can pass them at the time of calling this program or executing this program. Now, whatever the input that you will give, Java interpreter will store all this input in a temporary array. So, this array is called the args. So, string args that you can see, just highlighter you use, string args that we use. So, these string args basically we will use you use temporarily to store all the input that you passed, and as you know it is declared as a string, that means all the input will be stored as a string object and it will be processed then. Now, we have already discussed in theory class that the string object can be configured or passed to or transformed to the different type using the different methods defined there in java.lang package. Now, here let us see this example. It is a demonstration 4.3, and here the public static void main string args is as usual, we do not have to do anything here, but now you see we have used a for loop. So, for int I equals to 0, I less than args dot length. Args dot length basically how many input you passed, that means how many input object is stored in the args array. So, this basically there. If you pass 3, then it will be 0 to 2 actually, this kind of thing, because the first object is stored in 0, second is 1, third is. So, total number of object is 3 and it will basically stored in arg 0, arg 1, arg 3 if the 3 inputs are passed. The next statement is basically system.out.println args I. It basically whatever the string that you passed it, what are the input that you have passed, it will be print as a string and it will just go on printing this one. Now, instead of println write print, only print. Okay, so, it will basically print and at the end system.out.println print after the for loop. Okay, fine. Yes, and okay, fine. So, next statement is customarily written, in order to write it system.exit 0 is basically we will quit this execution anyway. So, now this is the program that we have written, you can understand what the program will do for you. The program can be called with input and those input will be passed to these objects. So, let us have this okay, execution this program there int I equals to 0, okay, fine, no problem. Let us see. You have done some mistake there. Okay, run. Hello. Okay, so now clear CLS. Okay, fine. So now you see we have called this method with 3 input hello to Java. Now, so this method is take and then print it like this one. Now, let us go to the program again. Yeah, so last system.out.println make it comment, last comment, okay, and then println system the first system.out.println, go there println, okay, no issue, and then okay, and okay, fine, we have little bit change it, absolutely no problem, there is no major changes, minor changes we have done it, that not required, okay, fine, a comment, okay, fine, right, okay, run this program. Yeah, now we are calling this program passing, no, not now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, you see the different input that we are passing separated by comma. Here, although we have entered 1, 2, 3, all these are the digits, or next is maybe say 5, 5, 5. Let us see. Okay. So, we have entered 8 numbers, and all these numbers in fact, in Java program will be treated as a string and they will be printed as a string, and there are 8 numbers will be printed in the next line. Let us run this program. Now, you see these are the numbers, it has those numbers have been printed here taking the input. Okay. Now, now go to the right. So, this is the way that okay, we can pass about command line input. Now, we have one more example, so that we can understand about So, that command line input needs to be used very carefully, because you have to specify that whether you have passed input or not. So, that is why some step if you add it, then it will be more robust program, but regarding the robust program writing we will discuss in details later on. So, it is a 4.4. Okay, demo 4.4. Yeah. Now, let us see the program. The same program, it basically check whether during the command line argument is passed or not. If during the command line no argument is passed, it will report that statement. If it passed, it will print this. So, here basically the first if statement to check that if during the execution of the program, if you passed any command line argument not. If it is not, then it will print a message that the command line arguments are there. If it not, then it will print that the command line argument no command line argument is found. So, and if it is there, then it will print all the command line arguments using a specific a very special for command string val args, that means all the value whatever the true, it will go on printing. So, this basically alternative way of printing all the input that you have passed to this program. Now, let us run this program. It basically report if you do not pass any input, and it will report if you pass any input, then print it. Now, we are running this program without passing any input. 4.4. No, yeah. So, we are running this program without any input, and you will see it will, yeah. So, no command line argument found. So, that it gives, because we do not give it. Now, again we are running the same program with passing hello Java 1 2 3. Yeah. So, 3 strings are there, 4, okay. So, okay, fine, no problem, enter. Now, you see it print, it will, okay, the command line arguments are hello Java 1 2 3, it is according to the next other than else part and then for statement. So, this is the okay, these are tricks for writing good program whenever you use the command line arguments. Now, command line arguments also can be used to pass into the integer. I can go to the another program. Let us go to the 4.3 demo of the 4.3 right. Yeah. So, here the for loop को comment करो. Next for loop का bracket second bracket को comment करो. Yeah. Okay, fine. So, now we are just okay. So, comment करो उसको. हाँ, fine. Now, okay, okay, you can delete this one. It will, okay, cluttering will be avoided. Okay, fine. We are removing and fine. So, now here, okay, we are just here integer I equals to 0 declare करो. Okay, we are declaring one variable integer, and then we are I equals to integer dot parse int, integer dot parse 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 capital होगा, PARSE parse int int capital int parse int yes parse int, then args 0, then system dot out dot println int I, then system dot out dot println वहाँ पे common है, system dot out dot println then the value within the value of I in integer is plus I semicolon. Okay, system exit के comment मार दो तो. Okay, fine. Now, you can change what we have done it. Nothing different. We will take the first input, and then first input will be passed as a string, but it will be converted to an integer. So, also comment मार दो. Okay. Second, okay, command है. ज़्यादा bracket हो गया ना इसी के लिए. Okay, so we are finding, okay, fine, ये थोड़ा ज़्यादा कमांड हो गया, ये सब क्लियर कर दो. हाँ ठीक है, नाउ इट इज ओके फाइन, दिस इज करेक्ट, ओके दिस इज फाइन, नाउ इट इज देयर. A little bit okay, clean the all these things garbage and then you can run it. Capital I, right, this is correct. Parse capital small p करो, ऐसा तो नहीं होना चाहिए. Now okay, let's okay, we have written the program, we have to go fast. Now you can see the input can be passed as an integer, right, 1 2 3, and this basically although we passed as a string, but it will convert to an integer, enter, okay, the value of I is integer. But if we passed any what is called some hello, then it is basically give an error. That error is basically runtime error, because it basically so this is an error because it is not able to convert this value to an integer value. So, this is an error is pointed out, but we will learn about how this kind of error can be dealt with later on. Now, okay, so we have learned about command line input, the value whatever it is passed as a string, and that can be converted to any type as you want. So, this is the idea about the command line. The another way, the scanner input. So, let us have the demo of this type of thing output 4.5. So, now let us see, there is one class which is defined in util package java.util. The name of the class is scanner. This scanner basically help you to read the input from the keyboard, and then that can be used for your purpose. Again this scanner will read as an integer, as an float, as a string, whatever it is there. Now, here is a quick demo of this one. We declare one class, the main class is demonstration under 45 underscore 45, and here you see the first declaration scanner scnr equals to new scanner system dot in. So, this is the typical syntax about new is basically the keyword to create an object, the name of the object, a type of the object belongs to the class scanner, and then here argument, this is default, you have to pass is system dot in, that is means the standard input. So, system dot in indicates the standard input means keyboard. So, basically scanner will read some value from the keyboard. So, this is the way we can create an object. The object name of the object is scnr. So, this is the user defined, we have defined this object name. Now, we would like to read two numbers from the keyboard using the scanner class, and then those actually the scnr object will be ready for you to read the input from your keyboard. Now, this basically can be done by means of one method which is defined in the scanner class itself, is called the next int. That means, it will go on reading, and here two successive reading will takes place, the value will read from the keyboard and then store into the temporary values a and b, and whatever the value it will be read as an integer, because it is a next int method will scan as an integer, and then the next two statement if statement is basically processing, it will print whichever the value is highest one. Now, let us quickly run this program to see how it works. Okay, now we are giving two input. So, let us give 45 then 54, enter. So, here you can see the input, the result that will be printed here like this one. So, that means it read two numbers successfully, and the two numbers it basically compare, and then maximum number is printed there. So, this is the one way, is an alternative way to command line input that we have discussed, and some people find it more easy and then convenient for their programming. So, it is there. Now, let us have another demo on the same utility of scanner class again 4.6. So, let us have the quick, again we use the scanner class which is defined in a util package. So, import statement that we have used earlier like this one, and here we just see enter the radius, we read the radius, but in this case we read the number not as an integer, as a float. So, we should use the next double. Now, again we create the scanner object, in this case SC, and then radius, the value will be read from the keyboard as a double, and then it will process it and then gives the result. So, let us run this program. So, here we can give 50.5. Yeah. Anyway, so no problem, although we enter 50, but it takes as a format. Again run this program. 5.5. Okay. So, it basically takes the value as a floating point number as a double format, and then calculate the area of the value using the formula that is defined in the method. So, this is basically the way the scanner class can work for you. You can read any number from the keyboard in any format, and regarding the different format that is possible, that you can have in the scanner class itself, like next int, next float, next double, next string, so many ways the input can be read. Now, so this is the scanner class. Now, let us have the last method using the data input stream class. It is little bit difficult to understand at the moment. Regarding this data input stream, we will discuss in details when we will consider about input output stream. Now, let us have a very quick demo of this usage of the data input stream class. It is more or less similar as the scanner, but here we use data input stream class, which is defined in IO package. So, in this case we should import java.io.star. There data input stream class is there, in case if we can write even java.io.data input stream also. Anyway, dot star means it will import the entire package, IO package. Now, let us see, we have declared two objects, principal amount, rate of interest. They are declared as a float object. So, an object of type float can be declared using this kind of statement, and also we declare another member elements, number of years, which is declared as an integer. So, three variables, three elements have been declared here as principal amount, rate of interest, and number of years. Now, we just create an object, the name of the object is called in basically input object, we can write input whatever, in. Okay, so, in as the object is created, this object is of type data input stream, and data input stream, and if you see the argument system.in, that means we now decide or we now direct the data input stream to read from the keyboard. So, here also you can use a file name, so that it can read from the file. Regarding file reading and everything, that is another discussion will be discussed later on. So, here system.in means that we want to read some value from the keyboard, for which we create an object called in. Now, temp string is a temporary string, and again data input stream class will read anything in the form of a string, and it is required to convert into the desirable format. Now, let us see how we can work for that. So, system.out.print enter principal amount, it gives a prompt to the user that you should enter principal amount. System.out flush, it basically clean the buffer. So, basically every keyboard or standard input has its own buffer. If you call this, it will clean, so that no garbage will be entered into your input. Now, temp string is basically store the value which is read from the buffer keyboard, and it is basically to read a buffer keyboard, the statement, the method that is required is read line. Read line method is declared in data input stream class. So, it basically read the entire line from the keyboard buffer, and it will store as a string in a temp string, which is a temporary variable. Now, we convert this value temp string into the float type, and the conversion is followed by this kind of method float dot value of temp string. So, this is the one method by which a string can be converted into a floating point value. Now, again the next we can give the prompt to enter the rate of interest, same as system.out.flush, again same the read the keyboard buffer, and then we finally read the string, and then this string is converted into the float value and stored in rate of interest. Again we give the next command, next in prompt, that enter number of years, we clean the buffer, read the buffer, and then finally convert this value that we read from the keyboard using integer dot parseInt and store into the variable called the number of years. And then we declare interest total, and this is simple formula: calculate the interest given the principal amount, rate of interest, number of years, and then print the result. And let us see how we can run this. There are few things I will discuss shortly. Let us have a quick demo. We run this program. Okay, so warning you can include it. There is a warning because of some depreciation, no issue, is basically casting, so you can ignore. Warning can be ignored. Now it is asking principal amount, okay, right, rate of interest 5, okay, 10, whatever it is, year is 2, okay, no problem. So it is calculated the total interest like this one. So this is the way the method can be calculated. It is the actually the rate of interest should be 0.5, whatever, 0.05 like this one. Anyway, so this is the one execution. Now let us come back to the program again, and if you see, there is one statement that we have try, and then within double brackets, then curly brackets, we paste everything, and for this try go to the end, we have end the curly brackets here, this one, and followed by catch. Now this is a try catch. Here is basically for exception handling. So if you do not put, sometimes compiler will report an error and may not execute to create the byte code. So that is why it is customary to use try catch whenever the data input stream or some input stream class is used. So regarding this try catch and everything, we will discuss about it in details. Now if you do not give try catch, let us see what error you can face it. So just remove the try block, command, this command, catch command. Okay. Now we have removed the try catch. It is very simple program without any try catch, as if we do not know anything about it. Now let us see whether we can compile this program or not. Now here compilation is not successful. So that means it required the try catch. Try catch is required for dealing with if there is an error in input. So that is why there are many in dot read line. So sometimes there may be the program can cause it. So try catch. Now there is an alternative way to deal with. Now we can do it in the main function here, writing throw exception. There is one way, instead of try catch also we can do that. So here we are doing like this. Yeah, now we just use throws exception. This is also alternative way. In the main method, if you do it, then without try catch also your program may run. So warning you can ignore. So this program is running. Now let us go clear, right, CLS, yeah, running, principal amount 5000, 0.10, fine, okay, fine, and then number of years 5, yeah. So this basically gives you the calculation of interest, how you can do this. Now we have learned about 3 ways of giving input, and regarding input and output we will discuss many more things on the running discussion. So it is not okay, it is till time is today up to this demo we have learned about print, how to output on the screen, and then input to the program. Okay, thank you very much.